Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays. Today I'm going to show you some of my collection of the writer-director team of Michael Powell and Emeric Pressburger. They're a team that were a British team that were commonly known as the Archers. And they did movies starting, I would say, 1940 until the late 50s. I have all their films except for maybe three-ish, some obscure ones, but probably the cream of the crop, the best ones I have, that greatly shows who they were and how good they were. So let's get right to it. This is a movie from 1940. It's called The Spy in Black. Stars Conrad Veidt, a German actor who starred in a movie, a famous silent German expressionist movie, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And he's excellent in this. He was a very underrated actor, I believe. He died tragically a few years after this. I think he died in 43, and was a loss. He's really good in this and a few other films that I have. Next up, we have Contraband, and it's also from 1940. It's kind of a comedy thriller in the vein of Hitchcock. It's also got Conrad Veidt in it, Valerie Hobson, who was in The Bride of Frankenstein a few years earlier, and this is from Kino Video. It was released in 2001, so if this ever comes out on Blu-ray, I'll definitely snatch it up. Same thing with Spy in Black. Now this is where they really got known as a team in the U.S. With the hit film The Thief of Bagdad, also in 1940. This is considered their, where they came out as a team and just kind of started the hits. The films they're totally famous for. The Thief of Bagdad, it's they did this for Alexander Korda, and he was producer, and this is basically inspired by the Arabian Nights tale, and it's got Conrad Veidt in there again. They really liked him, and they used him quite a bit in these early years, and does some great special effects. This is the Criterion Collection DVD. It's available on Blu-ray also, but definitely pick this up. It's a really great color film. Next up, from 1941, we have The 49th Parallel. This is a World War II thriller, wartime thriller. A British plane crashes in a Canadian territory. They're flying around. Somehow or another, they're a team, British team in Canada, and they crash, and they intercept a German submarine. I'm totally messing this up, but this is a great film. 1941. This is the Criterion DVD. It's black and white. It's got some extra bonuses on here. It was basically World War II. The British did a lot of films for wartime morale, and they did a lot of, like, let's say, quote unquote propaganda. I mean, the U.S. did films like that. It's kind of, to garner morale for the people at home, and even soldiers abroad and stuff. So it's a little bit more than a propaganda film. It's really good. What can I say? I like wartime flicks. This is good. Next up, we got One of Our Aircraft is Missing. This is from 1942. This was actually the first film that I saw then. I saw this way back on like A&E television when I was like 13 or something. This is an excellent film. Let's see who's in this. It's got a good team. This is actually this is another a plane goes down, and there's this woman that is kind of on the German side. She's a French woman. She's playing both sides of the field, German and British. So she smuggles the British team in and kind of hides them out right in the thick of the Nazis in this little area of town. And it's kind of a breakout, kind of avoid the Nazis and get back to their ship. You know, they're back on their ship and stuff to get back with their team and the rest of their crew and all. So it's a great movie, another great wartime movie by them. I can't really do it justice, these films, these wartime films. You just have to check one of them out, and you'll want to see the next one after you see one, because they're all really good, really tight, tense, well-written movies, great movies. Next up, we have my personal favorite, one of my favorite all-time films, one of the most beautiful color, Technicolor filmed movies that I can think of. It's The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. This is the Criterion DVD, and Colonel Blimp was a British cartoon character, like a newspaper cartoon, and they kind of adapted it to the screen, where it kind of shows him as kind of in flashbacks from where he retires to where he started, and he's kind of a staunch British soldier. It's basically showing soldiering from 1902 to 1942, and it's really hard to explain all the nuances of this movie, but it's one of my favorites. I really love it. I have it on multiple copies of stuff. So that was the second time it came out on Criterion. Here's the first edition of The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. It's a DVD. It's got different artwork. Basically the same stuff as on this one, with a little bit added extra. So, Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. And what is this? Life and Death of Colonel Blimp on Blu-ray? I must like this movie. I do, but I got the Blu-ray because it's got the color is sharper on this and stuff, so I wanted it, just as the nerd that I am about the movie. I also have it on Laserdisc. Let me just show you that real quickly. This is the Criterion Collection Laserdisc. This came out in, I want to say 1988. This was actually one of the movies that I read in a magazine called Video Review that I used to snatch from my grandpa's house, and it had a lot of reviews about laserdiscs and stuff, and they always had a section with like Criterion laserdiscs, and I always read about them, like, what are these things? And they always gave them such great reviews and stuff. So this was one of the first ones, and it always kind of stuck in my mind what Criterion Collection was. So I got a good copy of it here. So anyways, let's move away from The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, and let's move into the 1944 with A Canterbury Tale. And this is a movie set amid the Second World War. It's kind of based on incarnations of Chaucer's Pilgrims. Oh my God, the writer Chaucer, and it's really interesting. Kim Hunter, who would go on to be the in Planet of the Apes, as one of the Planet of the Apes people. So, anyways, that's Canterbury Tale. Tongue twisters, guys. Next up is another beautiful film, Technicolor, A Matter of Life and Death, from 1946. This is the Criterion Collection Blu-ray. Stars David Niven, who you probably would know. It's got the beautiful cinematography by Jack Cardiff. He kind of specialized in, he was a British cinematographer, and he kind of specialized in color photography. And this is one of his masterpieces. And I want to say, let's see, if he do, I want to say, I'm not really sure if he did I should know that, if he did the photography for Colonel Blimp, but this is a really nice Blu-ray disc. When they announced this, I was like, oh wow, I'm going to have a good copy of this. I waited for years and years for a good copy, and it finally came out, and it's been restored 4K digital, and A Matter of Life and Death. Let's see, I want to say some other things. It's got a lot of good stuff on here, so I highly recommend that a lot. Next up, from 1946, we have Black Narcissus, and this is an exceptional movie based on the. It takes place in a isolated convent in the Himalayas, where it's has extreme weather, altitude, weather, and it's a great another movie, cinematography by Jack Cardiff again, and really awesome actresses in this movie, Kathleen Bryan and Deborah Kerr, and let's see who else. Sorry guys, I'm just saying. This is a great movie. I have this on Laserdisc too, but I didn't bring it out. But there you go, Black Narcissus, and it's really good. I mean, it's just so good. You just have to take my word on it. It's one of those movies where you can, maybe the first time you watch it, and you're like, yeah, that's good. And then you watch it again, and it's like, whoa, that's good. And then it just keeps getting better and better each time you watch it. I've seen it multiple times. I'm just trying to explain how good these movies are. Next up is The Red Shoes. This is probably their best known movie. The Red Shoes is it's kind of another glorious Technicolor movie. Jack Cardiff won an Oscar for his cinematography on this, and it's kind of a ballerina that's torn between a composer and the guy that's kind of like her, what do you call it, impresario. So it's just one of the, it's got dazzling, dance sequences, and the color is just like, it's just dripping out of your TV screen. I'm serious. It's just so beautiful. And I mean, it's true art. Anyone that's ever said that film is not art is just, they don't know. So The Red Shoes, 1948, recommend that also. It's not my absolute favorite, but it's very, very good. I rate those other ones better. Next up is a kind of a different turn for the team of Pressburger and Powell. The Small Black Room. This was from 1949, and stars David Farrar. Sorry, I'm not announced that. David Farrar. That's his name. He was in Black Narcissus also. He was the male lead that the two nuns were kind of torn between, kind of jealousy in that one. I couldn't think of his name right off. This one has Kathleen Byron in it. Again, she was from the other one, and it's more of a dramatic movie. Just kind of read some of the back of it. One of the Army's finest bomb disposal guys. He works on a team where they, dispose of bombs, like bomb crashes, didn't go off, didn't detonate, they would call him in, he would detonate the bomb and everything so it wouldn't, blow everyone up on base or in the field where they're at, or just in the public. So he would, during wartime, until he gets injured one day, and he's left with a false foot. I guess his foot he was blown off, and he now works for a specialist team called the Black Room, which is kind of referring to a backroom team in the Army that works on bombs and issues of bombs and whatnot. And he falls in love with Catherine Bryan. She's a colleague of his, and they begin a secret affair. And although he's a brilliant scientist and everything, he allows he allows himself to be exploited by his boss, who just wants to. It's a multi-layered drama. It's really good. I was surprised how good it was. I wasn't expecting to be as good as it was when I got it, because it's one of the odder movies by the team. It's not well known. There is also a Criterion DVD of this, which is out of print, and it's very costly. So at the time I got this is a British import, Region 2. So the Small Black Room. I don't know if I have moved you guys, whoever's listening to this, to go out and see these movies or rent them or buy them. I mean, you really can't rent movies anymore, but maybe if you check them out, and just kind of take a chance and watch one, and if you kind of fall in love with it, or you really like, I like this movie, I really like that movie, and it might get you to go, okay, let me check out another movie about this team, because I really like the team and how they did everything. So it might lead you on a domino effect. That's kind of what it did with me. I mean, it took 25 years to get that many movies, with including the Laserdiscs, but yeah, but I do have a few more to show you. This is a movie from I want to say 1951. This is The Tales of Hoffman, and this is one of their lesser movies. I'm not really keen on this. I mean, it has its fans out there. One of them, Martin Scorsese, he loves this movie. It's in color. It's a beautiful movie. This time photography by Christopher Chalice. But it's got a lot of operatic type stuff in it. Maybe I haven't given the movie a fair shake, so I'm gonna leave this to watch and kind of catch up on it. See, even with me, I'm not automatically giving this movie a pass because I love the team and just anything they do. I'm seriously kind of bent on this movie. I'm kind of so maybe I'll watch it some more and like it. But enough of my babbling. This is from 1951. This is a Criterion Laserdisc. It's available on DVD and I believe maybe Blu-ray from another source. But this came out in 1992. Great year. Okay, I'm going to show you another movie that I kind of skipped over this one. This came out in 1945. This is also a Criterion Laserdisc. This is a movie called I Know Where I'm Going. Black and white photography by Jack Cardiff again. And let me just kind of read briefly what this is about. It's kind of a romantic, it's got some romanticness. It takes place in a bleak, moody in Scotland, kind of, on an island. It's got a lot of ocean. A headstrong woman is stranded on the island due to stormy weather, and she meets a handsome naval officer played by Roger Livesey, who played Colonel Blimp. And he's a fine actor, a fine British actor. He's probably not well known, but he actually is a really good actor. But anyways, he threatens to, you know, kind of mess up her plans in life, and kind of causes her to be, um, you know, change her path in life and stuff. But actually, I was wrong about the cinematography. It's actually Irwin Hiller. I'm not really. I couldn't remember that. I thought it was Jack Cardiff that did this, but it's actually Irwin Hiller. So there you go. I know where I'm going. This is another movie it's really good. I would say rate it with the Canterbury Tale. As far as, you know, it's kind of it's got a strong leading role for a woman, which is really cool. This was made during war, towards the end of the World War II. It's actually really good. But it's also a movie that I need to watch a few more times just to kind of, you know, get more about it. But when I've only seen it once, and it was on this disc, and it was pretty good. I need to watch it some more. Like with the Tales of Hoffman, I need to watch that a little bit more. Not saying it's not good. It's, you know. Next up, I got three more to go, guys. These are the kind of the late era movies. I'm missing a few here in the 50s. But we start off with a good movie called Ill Met by Moonlight. It's kind of an odd title. It had another title also, but this is a movie about Nazi occupied Crete, out, you know, in the Greece, in Greece area, in the area of Greece, the country Greece. British officers are aided by the local Greek. Why am I saying Greece? The Greek patriots who are trying to fight the Nazis, who have occupied the land of Greece during World War II. They're assigned the job of kidnapping the German commander in chief on the island there where it takes place. And if the operation is successful, they will be an incredible propaganda coup for the Allies, and really kind of stick it to the Nazis and everything. And it's a really good movie showing two different factions of army during World War II, which I've never really seen the Greek side of things. You know, they kind of had their own little, like they say in the movie, patriots who are trying to get these Nazi scums off their island, out of their country. So yeah, it's pretty cool how that takes place. Just to see the two team work together, and it's really good. One of the star of it is Dick Bograd. I can't even say his name right, but he's a very famous British actor, by the way. So yeah, Ill Met by Moonlight, and yeah, pretty good. Kind of odd. It's a good little war movie. And this is a new movie. I got this recently. All these other ones I've had for years, but I bought this recently. The Battle of the River Plate. This is basically takes place 1940 when the kind of the local British people got in their ships to kind of go out there. Dunkirk. It's like Dunkirk basically, where all the, you know, local fishermen and people with boats were asked by the British Army to help them out and everything. So it's basically a early version of Dunkirk, and it's really good. It's really good to see their take on it. I mean, Dunkirk was, done recently, and it was a really good movie. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see their spin on it. It's got some good actors in it. It's got Anthony Quayle, Peter Finch, Bernard Lee, and Ian Hunter. Not the singer, but the actor. But yeah, The Battle of the River Plate. And I think this has another name also. Back then they were changed the names, like it got released in America and they would have a US title. And so sometimes there's confusion in trying to hunt down videos and movies and stuff. So yeah, recommend that. Because I know a story, it's probably going to be great. And this is Michael Powell. Michael Powell's movie from 1960, the notorious, infamous Peeping Tom, and this is on Criterion Laserdisc. By this time, Michael Powell, Emeric Pressburger kind of split the Archers up, split the team, and Michael Powell, 1960, does this very acclaimed, very kind of well known. It was got a lot of flack back when it came out, and it was like not being shown in Britain because it dealt with a man who is fascinated with cameras and movies, and he films women, and he uses the tripod. Actually, like a big long blade sticks out, and like he films the woman. He's like stabbing them and filming their death, and it's pretty weird for 1960. I mean, this is pretty common in a lot of slasher movies and horror movies. We see thrillers even today, and we don't really bat an eye about it. You know, it's just, you know, it's a scary movie. But this was rare for 1960. I mean, Alfred Hitchcock would make Psycho also in 1960. So they were kind of leading the pack of what would later be the thriller, horror type mystery movie. You know, they kind of pushed it forward a little bit. And then by the 70s, we have what we know now as slasher films and horror films of that nature. So yeah, it's one of the grandfathers of the slasher movie. So Peeping Tom, you can probably read up on it. It's got a lot of essays, a lot of stories about it. It's on DVD. There's an out of print Criterion DVD that you can pick up, and it's also available on Blu-ray. So there, guys, what can I tell you? Emeric Pressburger, Michael Powell, the writer, director team known as the Archers. Great team to just, if you're wanting to explore the career